November 15, 2025. The world's attention is fixed on Air Force One, the iconic blue and white jet slicing through the clouds. Inside, the stakes are high, the atmosphere tense. The president is returning from a contentious summit, and the press corps is eager for answers. Among the reporters is Catherine Lucy of Bloomberg News, known for her sharp questions and unflinching persistence. She seizes the moment, her voice cutting through the cabin's hum. She asks President Trump a direct, pointed question. Why not just release the Jeffrey Epstein files himself, right now, for the world to see? The president doesn't answer. Instead, he turns to her, his expression hardening. He wags his finger and, in front of the cameras and his staff, sneers, "Quiet, quiet, Piggy," dismissing her with a single cutting phrase. The White House doesn't shy away from the moment. Within hours, the official accounts post the video clip, amplifying the exchange as if it were a badge of honor, not a moment of shame. This wasn't a slip of the tongue. It was a deliberate performance, a calculated act of public humiliation designed to send a message, not just to Catherine, but to every journalist, every woman watching. The message was clear. Don't challenge me, especially if you're a woman. Outrage exploded online, with people from all walks of life expressing shock and anger at the president's words. "Quiet, Piggy" became more than just an insult. It became a hashtag, a meme, a rallying cry for those fed up with being silenced and demeaned. The misogyny was unmistakable. Piggy, a favorite Trump slur for women, paired with quiet, was meant to belittle and silence. It echoed a long history of public insults and dismissals. But this time, instead of shrinking away, people pushed back. The insult ignited a firestorm, fueling protests and viral campaigns. For women everywhere, it was a painfully familiar scene. Being dismissed, belittled, told to be quiet, their voices pushed aside in boardrooms, newsrooms, and public life. But this time, they refused to be silenced. Across the country, women stood up, united in outrage and determination, ready to fight back and make their voices heard. The Piggy comment didn't come out of nowhere. Trump's library of sexist insults is decades old, and his second term has only added more. He attacks women's looks, intelligence, and sanity, never their arguments. Just last year, he called Sunny Hostin one dumb woman and Whoopi Goldberg filthy, dirty, disgusting. Nancy Pelosi? A bad, sick woman, crazy as a bedbug. Michelle Obama? He mused about whether he was allowed to hit her. Sexual assault accusers? He sneered. They weren't attractive enough. The Piggy insult has a long history. Alicia Machado, Rosie O'Donnell, Megyn Kelly. These aren't isolated incidents. They're a pattern, a deliberate strategy to demean women who challenge him. Quiet, Piggy wasn't new. It was just the latest remix of a very old, very ugly tune. And this time, the world was listening. These aren't gaffes. They're a calculated strategy. Every word, every insult, is part of a pattern that's been honed over years in the public eye. It's not just about a slip of the tongue or a moment of anger. It's a deliberate approach designed to dominate headlines and control the conversation. Trump's playbook is simple but effective. Single out a woman who challenges him, attack her personally, and make it gendered. He doesn't just disagree. He goes after her character, her looks, her intelligence, making sure the criticism is unmistakably personal and unmistakably sexist. He calls women nasty, low IQ, crazy, or unattractive, shifting the focus from the issue to the woman herself. The debate stops being about policy or truth, and becomes about her worthiness, her appearance, her right to speak at all. Then, he rallies his supporters, unleashing a wave of online abuse and harassment. The attacks don't end with his words. They echo across social media, multiplying in intensity, making it clear that anyone who speaks up could be next. The White House offers cover, blaming the victim and gaslighting the public. Official statements twist the narrative, suggesting the woman provoked the attack or is exaggerating, muddying the waters and making it harder to hold anyone accountable. For his base, it's red meat, fighting the so-called elite media. The spectacle becomes a rallying cry, a way to energize supporters and reinforce the idea that the real enemy is anyone who questions him. For women, it's psychological warfare, meant to make them think twice before speaking out. The message is clear: challenge him, and you'll pay a price, not just in public, but in your private life, your career, your sense of safety. Will I be the next Piggy? The next Horseface? Will my life be upended for doing my job? These questions haunt women in the public eye, forcing them to weigh the cost of simply telling the truth. It's a chilling, anti-democratic tactic. When leaders use their power to silence critics, especially women, democracy itself is threatened. The goal is clear: silence women, intimidate critics, and keep the spectacle going. The more outrageous the attack, the more attention it gets, and the more others are discouraged from speaking up. But every time he tries, the backlash grows. Women and allies refuse to be intimidated, organizing, marching, and speaking out even louder. The playbook is old, but the resistance is new and louder. Each insult sparks a new wave of activism, a new generation determined not to be silenced. Trump's insults are meant to control the narrative, to make women afraid to challenge him, but instead, they're exposing the playbook for what it is: a desperate attempt to hold on to power. Instead, they're fueling a movement. The more he tries to silence women, the more voices rise up, refusing to back down and demanding to be heard. Trump demanded quiet. The response was anything but. Journalists, especially women, refused to be silenced. Bloomberg News and the White House Correspondents Association issued strong statements defending Lucy and the free press. Women journalists led the charge, writing, broadcasting, and sharing their own stories of sexism and intimidation. They made it clear, this wasn't just another Trump moment. Gendered attacks threaten their work, safety, and the future of women in journalism. Every attempt to silence a journalist only amplifies their voice. Trump tried to make an example of Lucy. Instead, he made her a symbol of defiance. He wanted quiet. He got a symphony of resistance. The press stood united, refusing to back down. The message: you can't bully the truth into silence. The louder the insult, the stronger the response. And the world was watching. The fallout didn't stay in the media bubble, it exploded nationwide. For millions of women, this was personal, a reminder of what's at stake. Female leaders seized the moment, connecting Trump's words to his policies. They argued, a president who speaks with contempt for women can't be trusted to protect their rights. The Piggy comment became a symbol of a broader agenda to roll back progress. Female voters, already rejecting the MAGA movement, were further galvanized. The insult turned anger into resolve, fueling activism, turnout, and candidacies. Trump tried to silence one woman. He activated millions. The backlash was political, and it was powerful. Some say, it's just words, but that's dangerously naive. These are weapons, chosen to intimidate and silence. When the president targets a woman with a gendered insult, it sends a chilling message far beyond that moment. Elisa Liz Munoz of the International Women's Media Foundation put it best: these attacks are meant to shut women up. Trump's insults invalidate women professionally, reducing them to their appearance. His followers take the cue, unleashing abuse and threats. The goal: make the cost of speaking out so high that women stop trying. This isn't just about journalism, it's about every woman in public life. The message: step up, and you'll be targeted for your gender, not your ideas. This drains energy, stifles voices, and impoverishes society. These aren't just words, they're a form of censorship, and they're an attack on equality itself. The barrage of insults breeds fatigue, numbness even. Quiet. Piggy was disgusting, but also predictable. The shock wears off and normalization creeps in. That's the strategy. Wear down the opposition until they give up. But beneath the exhaustion, anger simmers. For every person who tunes out, another tunes in, more determined than ever. The predictability of the insults only deepens the offense. This cycle of fatigue and fury fuels resistance. Each new insult reignites the fight, reminding people, this is not normal. Anger becomes energy, powering activism, voting, and protest. Trump bets people will tire of being angry. He's wrong. The fury isn't fading, it's building. Here's the irony: Trump's attempts to silence women have made them louder than ever. What was meant to intimidate has only fueled a new era of activism, one that's impossible to ignore. Every insult, every tirade, has inspired more women to rise up. Instead of backing down, they've found strength in each other, building a movement that's more united and determined than ever before. After his 2016 election, women ran for office in record numbers. They stepped into the political arena, determined to make their voices heard and to represent those who felt ignored or dismissed. The women's marches broke protest records, drawing millions into the streets across the globe. These marches became a symbol of collective power and a declaration that women would not be silenced. Female voter turnout has soared, with women showing up at the polls in unprecedented numbers. Their votes have become a force that politicians can no longer afford to ignore. The quiet Piggy comment is just the latest spark, now a meme, a slogan, a rallying cry. Online and offline, it's being shared, remixed, and turned into art that spreads the message even further. Artists and activists are reclaiming his words, turning them into symbols of defiance. What was meant as an insult is now a badge of honor, fueling creativity and solidarity. Nasty woman became a badge of honor, a phrase worn with pride on t-shirts, buttons, and banners. It's a reminder that women refuse to be shamed into silence. Nevertheless, she persisted became a mantra, echoing through protests, social media, and everyday conversations. It's a rallying point for resilience and determination. Now, quiet. Piggy is being reclaimed too. What was meant to belittle is now a symbol of unity and resistance, spreading rapidly through communities and online spaces. Trump's attacks have clarified the stakes, forcing a national conversation about misogyny. People are talking openly about issues that were once whispered, demanding real change. He tried to push women back, to keep them quiet and compliant. But his words have only made the call for equality more urgent. Instead, he's galvanized a movement. Across generations and backgrounds, women are standing together, refusing to be sidelined. The more he insults, the stronger the resistance grows. Each attack only adds fuel to the fire, making the movement impossible to ignore. His words don't define women, their response does. Their courage, unity, and determination are rewriting the narrative. And their response is powerful. It's a movement that's changing history, one voice at a time. The Quiet Piggy incident was never just about one comment. It tapped into a larger reckoning, a demand for change. This fight isn't just about one journalist or one president. It's about building a world where women can lead and speak without fear of demeaning insults. The movement is diverse. Journalists, leaders, activists, voters, mothers, daughters, sisters. It's about dismantling the system that lets men like Trump thrive. The goal: a new standard of leadership, built on respect and equality. Women have turned an ugly moment into fuel for change. This isn't fleeting outrage, it's a rising tide. They're done asking for respect. Now, they're demanding it. And they will not be quiet.